Okay, what you're looking at there is my other poor man's bearing in order to keep that shaft threaded bar in place. And what I've done is I've glued a nut, the same size nut for the threaded bar, onto the MDF so it just overhangs the edge of the hole. And then I've glued two more at the back, having let this one go off dry and solid, so I could push the other two up in place and glue them in position as well. Now, I'm not going to leave them like that, obviously. What I found are some fixing screws from a computer fan, you know, that screws the grill on the outside of the fan, and they're ideal. But there are two types. There's the pointed ones and there are the blunt-ended ones. These are the ones you do not want, okay? You don't want those. The pointed ones are ideal because they fit the screw, the nut rather, that we're using, and they sit flush as well. Okay? So all I have to do now is let that lot go off hard, take the rod out, put the screws in, and then I can assemble the screw in permanently, putting some copper grease on the poor man's bearing underneath here, and the hole where it sits on the pin in the bearing at the bottom. So I'll pull you out so that you can see what the whole thing looks like now. And it's looking quite good. The butterfly bolt nuts are in place, ready to start building the sled. Once we've got the nuts fixed and the copper grease in place, so that the motor assembly becomes, it will be the last thing that goes on, depending how I get on with the sled. If I have any problems with the sled, then I'll revert back to the motor and do that as well. Okay, so I'll bring you back a little bit further forward. I've got somebody else to show you. Okay peeps, I've had to change venue. We're no longer in the kitchen, we're in the front room. Now, the three nuts that are going to stop the threaded bar moving the sled up and down on the Z-axis from digging into the MDF and coming away from the driving cog. And now we're going to screw them in to give them more strength and to be able to keep them in place. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a drill right around really. Whoops. Right, got the drill stuck. Not to worry. I'll have it out in a jiffy. You can't say that there's if I don't give you excitement. Wow, a stuck drill. Of course it would have if I did the chuck up tighter, wouldn't it? Come on. Thank you. Try that again, shall we? Right. I think that one's done. Yep. Now we're going to do the next one. That's probably where I'm rubbing it on the MDF, the chuck, as it came undone. Right. Yeah, I needed to have the gantry in position, and there wasn't really enough room left in the kitchen, so short of taking the cupboards off the walls, I thought I'd better come in here. I'll put you back in the right place. Not really. There we go. Right. So now, should gently start this off. And I should hold this, that's in position. Well, that's the idea anyway. Now that one's moved well away from the hole. Okay, we'll do the other two and see what happens. If the other two move as well, I may have to rethink my strategy. That one stayed put. If the other one stays put, then I'm just going to re-sort out the other one. Twist that one round a bit. That one's in place, that one's in place. It's only this one that's gone out of alignment. Now that's going to present a predicament because I glued in that position. Should have checked first. Okay. Well, what I'm going to have to do is take this one off. Put the bar in. And then find, I think what I might have to do, because of that hole, I may end up having to put two more around there, one at the back and one at the side to move it away from that hole but still have the support. Okay. So let's see how, what I'll do is I'll bring you back out that way, so you can see what I'm doing. Well, I hope you can see what I hope you can see what I'm doing. That's the plan anyway. Right, I'll do it this way, I suppose. You can see what I'm up to. So you know that one I could put there. To have a think about that. I'll have a think about that. In the meantime, we will get on with the next piece of the action, which is the make sure it's done up tight this time around. Here's the fixings for the carriage. What we're going to be doing is drilling one hole in each of these that go into, these tongues that go in the pockets. Okay? And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to take another piece of plywood, right, same thickness, and slip it under those two. And then using a line, I'll see if I can do this so that you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I think you can see that. I'll get out in the light. Right. What I'm doing, where the two pieces of wood join, I'm going to draw a straight line. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is draw across in the lower box to find the centre. The reason that I'm being more meticulous than I was here is because I need that in the centre, because I'm hoping to pick up the centre of the two pockets where the ink cartridges used to go. Okay, so I'll just draw those corner to corner. Obviously your bit of plywood or wood or whatever you use could possibly be a different size, because the printer cartridges, the printer that you scavenge the parts from used, so it could be any size. Okay, so now I'm going to drill in the centre there, through the second piece of plywood and through out the other side of the MDF. Okay, here we go. I think I'd better change the battery, don't you? By the way, I'm closer to the batteries this time, or the charger rather, and means I can keep talking to you. Oh no, they said we just turned our def aids up. Okay, here we go. Straight down. Pull it out to clear the hole, so you don't try to force the drill all the way through in one go. There we are, we're through. The same next one, back and forward to clear the hole, so we don't try and force our way through in one go. using my screw box as a rubbish dump. Right, take the plywood back out, and we've got our 2 holes. On camera, Raymond, 2 holes here. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is take this drill out and put in a bigger drill to make a bigger hole. I didn't know that. Bigger drills make bigger holes, did you know that? I didn't. But I learn something every day, don't you? Right. Now, and of course, I picked the blunt drill again, didn't I? Only I could do that. Right, here we go. Line camera, you are. Right. There we go. Lovely jubbly. Okay. Where's my curve knife? Insert. You'll see how much there is, so I'll bring you back out. There you go. There we go. Right. Just cleaning those up. In the back of the plywood as well. On the front. Now, I can hear a lot of you saying he's made a hole in the front where the sled's going to go. If he puts a bolt in there, the sled won't go up and down. And no, I'm not going to cut a groove all the way in the sled. I'm going to mine a couple of bolts. And you'll see, what the frickin' hell's he on about now? Mine a couple of bolts. Well, if you mine a boat, you blow it up, don't you? You sink it. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to sink these bolts. So I need a couple of mines, don't I? On the bolts. Okay, I'll shut up. Right, I need a bigger drill to stick my head in. Heads. No, I haven't got heads. I've got one head. And it's empty most of the time. Right. Now this bit, you've got to be careful, because if it bites, you could go flying straight through to the other end, and you've got a bit of a mess on your hands. So what you've got to do is very gently do it in stages. Okay, that's one. See what I mean? downline it. I think it is now. Right. Where's my curve knife? There it is. Turn that off. What was that? Do I know what bolts I'll be using? No, not yet. How do you know how big the head's going to be? Well, that's how big I want it to be. So, stay there. Okay, don't stay there then, stay there. Right, that head's too big, so we won't be using that bolt. Right, what have we got here? Oh, that'll be alright. Well, I got two of them. Look at that. Right. You want a couple of washers. Which we've got. I saw one just then. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, oh, excuse me. I didn't bring the other container with the nuts in. I knew I'd have to go off camera for some reason. Right, put screws down there, put that in there, and here is a couple of nuts. Okay. I said I was going to glue the nuts onto the back pieces of the plywood. I'm not going to do that, but before I do that, what I want to do is, got the wrong drill, stay there. Put the other drill in so I can go through and mark the plastic. Right. The tricky bit, I want to hold that in position. Okay. Oh, look at that. Alright. Small drill first. Pop it through the plastic. And then couldn't foresee that. Gently does it. The other thing I just thought of, there's like an indent. I may have to figure out some way of gluing something in there. Is that might be okay. I suppose I could put a piece of big circuit board in there just to help thicken that up. I don't want that. As I'll be pulling it all over there. What I'll do is I'll suck it and see. Right, so what I'm going to have to do first is put the screws on the nuts rather, on the back of here. We could do some washers on there as well. So this is going to be a two-job gluing session. Right, one for the washers, and one for the nuts. On first. Oh sugar, get in there. Okay, well, I'll let that go off. I'll glue the nuts on and then bring you back to show you me bolting it all on, and then hopefully we can then start on the sled for the drum. Alright peeps, talk to you again in a bit.